Ahlan, 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 and welcome to this new episode of Listen Habibi. It's me again. Today's episode is going to be called Boston to Beirut and Back. And listen, guys, I know it's been a while. It's been, again, probably a year since I've been able to sit in front of this mic and talk to you guys directly. I have many things to share. And if you're watching me right now, that's part of it. I am very excited to be entering this new chapter of Listen Habibi, trying to elevate every year video. I want you to be able to see me when I'm talking with you guys and sharing. A huge part of connection you miss when you're just listening to my voice. So we're going to try to do video as well. And yeah, so sit back, relax. Today is going to be a catch-up episode with a lot of sharing. Okay, so I'm not gonna lie, I don't want to say I'm nervous because I'm always in front of the camera. That's not, something new to me, but it is one of the first times that I kind of spill my heart to myself in a way, because it's just me and the camera and my microphone, of course. It took me a lot to get to this point because it was like always a goal of mine to make shorts and to get on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, all the amazing places to share with you guys. But to actually set things up, get the right camera settings that I want, the right software. If you guys really know me, you know I'm a perfectionist. So I have been putting it off. I have been procrastinating. And, that was the excuse before. But in reality, I would say the last 5 months of life have been absolute chaos, to be completely open and honest. I was kind of scared to get in front of the mic because I know whenever I talk to you guys or whenever I share on Listen Habibi, I'm completely open, honest, and vulnerable. And it's just a piece of who I am, right? Like I'm just completely genuine and authentic, like I'd mentioned in my previous episodes, where it's a part of who I am. It's a part of my brand. It's a part of how I carry myself in life. Is I wear my heart on my sleeve. And I think human connection is a huge part of the life experience, the human experience. And I don't know, I just felt like I was a little bit nervous to share with the world what had been going on, what is going on, and to show a more vulnerable, side. I don't really know where to start, actually. I feel like the last time we really were talking was around my 23rd birthday last year, and life was getting crazy. I was getting ready to leave for Lebanon for 2 months, but it was still uncertain because there was so much conflict happening and all of my plans were falling apart. And that turns out to be kind of a theme for 2025. In the most beautiful, chaotic ways, of course. I was in DC and I was being awarded with the Rising Leader Award with ATFL. And it was there that I had found out that I was going to go to Lebanon to participate in the program called Lebanon and Beyond, which is an amazing program. And I really hope that they get to run it this year. Spoiler. But essentially it was a way to connect with my roots, with Lebanese from all over the world, all over the diaspora, which is obviously my brand as well. We talk about diaspora all the time. And the whole thing was to basically explore Lebanon, to give back, to do community service, to learn at AUB, LAU, and to just spend a few weeks, I think it was like 4 or 5 weeks, just doing projects and learning about our roots, which is so unique for me because I only get to know a small percentage of Lebanon when I'm there, because it's very limiting, right? Like transportation, mobility, it's really hard. So I was so excited to get into that program and to be able to make it. However, obviously the war broke out, or there was a lot of conflict, and then they decided to cancel. So I still booked my ticket and I was still booked for 2 months. So I went regardless, and I spent a whole month by myself with my family there before my other family arrived, my siblings and my parents. And I experienced Lebanon like I never had before. I got to see more of the nightlife, more of the party scene. I spent a lot of time with my friend Marita, who showed me all around. We enjoyed Batroun. We went up to Ehdin, like even Beirut. I got to go to Beirut. I got to meet the president of Lebanon and attend my first all-Arabic conference about the economy of Lebanon. That was really interesting. I was so honored and blessed to be there. I was like one of maybe 4 or 5 women in the entire conference, and definitely one of the youngest, but it was truly an amazing experience. And I was so proud to be in the Phoenician Hotel and to hear about the future of Lebanon from, arguably some of the most important figures in the Lebanese government and society. And that was amazing. And then my parents came, my siblings came, and we continued the summer. And I went to 3 weddings. It was a lot of fun. I did get sick, but it was weird because it wasn't like my stomach sick. It wasn't like Crohn's sick, thank God. It was, I got a really bad cough, and then that turned into me like pulling my oblique from coughing so hard. It was crazy, but finally we came home at the end of the summer, and like it was a lot. It was a lot. If any of you heard my episode with ATFL, which I'll also get into, this summer was the first time I had been in Lebanon in such politically charged conditions. Like, obviously, I've been back and forth to Lebanon, to that Beirut airport many times in the last 5 to 10 years. But this summer was a bit different because we were just coming out of a war that fall. And this is going to be so hard for me to put words to be honest. Right. I'm obviously Lebanese American, and I do close work with the American side of things, trying to help Lebanon. And I pushed and challenged myself, although I left my microphone here at home. I wanted to talk to everyone when I was there and understand the conditions, understand the situation, try to see what the media wasn't showing me. And that resulted in a lot of difficult conversations, especially about the role of the US and the pain of Lebanon and its demise, and what youth think about the diaspora, and with all of the roles of outside forces coming into Lebanon. I don't know. I really don't know how to word this. Like, it's really tough because it's like you don't know what to say. You don't know how to say it. And here we're very politically correct. We try to think of the best way to talk about things. I felt again I was in the position of you're too American to be Lebanese and too Lebanese to be American. And that was really heavy on me because no matter how much you try to explain or describe or portray your love and effort and care, deep care and sensitivity for your roots and your country, the reality is people have different lived experiences. And that's life, right? That's life. Things aren't fair and things are never going to be equal, but it just became so frustrating. I felt so removed. I felt very numb. I don't know if it was just delayed grief. I don't know if it was just the pain of being away, or really just like needing selfishly that loving, safe Lebanon when she was broken and crying. Needing that Lebanon that was warm and gentle when she was literally screaming for help. And so I'm still trying to understand like what that means, and if both things and realities can be true. I think they can be, but I'm still figuring that out. And so Lebanon was very heavy. It was. I didn't even think, I was going to be able to go, and then I was, and it was beautiful spending time with family, but also it's emotionally heavy. It really is. And I know I probably sound like I feel like I can't even talk about this without sounding privileged, because this is people's lived reality, but being there, it's so heavy. It's so heavy because it's like you can't relate, but you also deeply relate and you want to be there, but it's, again, guys, I'm figuring it out, and I think I'll continue to grow and change as I grow older. It's a complex love story with Lebanon. Very complex. I will still do whatever I can to give back to my roots, to give back to the country I love, that I'm so proud of, to figure out how we can grow and how we can mobilize the diaspora to give back and to be a part of that success story, God willing. That's literally my life's work. That's my passion, is the Middle East, and that's definitely been something I've been able to isolate this last year. 100%. Yeah. Anyways, I digress. This is like crazy because it's like a video diary. I'm like speaking to future me, which is the truth, right? Like even when I do my audio podcasts, like I always say, if no one listens to these, at least future Adi will, and she'll have these stories to look back on and these memories. It's like a diary, but it is a little interesting being in front of the camera. It's okay. I love it. If you guys can see all the facial signs and remarks I make while I speak, like I'm very expressive. So yeah, I came back from Lebanon and I will say it was a long trip. I got to spend a lot of time with my teta and my dodo. My grandparents are a whole other subject to me. I love them so dearly, and it's like insane for me to reflect and think about just like how different our lives really are, and just like the gap in that generation, you know, what my reality looks like as a young woman here versus like how my grandmother grew up. And she is such a fighter. Adeline Senior, I look up to that woman. She is a lover, she is tough, she's a warrior, and she's just unapologetically herself. And I love her so, so deeply. My dodo is one of the most wise men. He always speaks with such deep, deep wisdom and understanding, with the word of God, with guidance, with confidence, and he's so soothing. I always wish that I could have them around here. I love them and miss them dearly and deeply. And I'm grateful for the shared time we get. So I came back and I was getting ready. I had about 2 weeks off before I started my new job. So last year total, I worked like 3 different jobs. And I want to be so open and transparent with you guys. The market has been so difficult. I graduated in 2024. It took me about 5 months. Well, to be fair, I took the summer to heal, like needed it desperately to focus on my health, and I'm still working on my health every day, but I needed to just chill after college, I'm not gonna lie. And so I didn't really start applying until like September, and then it took me about 4 or 5 months to land a position. And I actually worked in insurance for a while. I worked in insurance for like 3 months while I was still doing my other political consulting on the side, and obviously listen Habibi, and Global Shapers, as active as I can be. But I did insurance right before I went to Lebanon. I was applying to government jobs as well, interviewing, doing really life-changing things that I can't fully speak about. One day I'll probably open up and share, but life kind of turned out a little differently. I came back and I decided to accept a position in corporate law, and I worked in corporate law. And so I started. As soon as I came back, I had like a few weeks off to prepare and get ready. And then I started at a big law firm in the city. And it was exactly my pace. Like I felt like it was a really good fit. I really enjoyed commuting to the city. I obviously moved home with my family. It made more sense. And so I really enjoyed commuting to the city and being around attorneys and that whole scene and understanding more about what corporate law looks like, what big law operates like, litigation, corporate. And I really was blessed to be in that role. Very highly competitive to get there. And I showed up 100% ready to go, ambitious, and ready to conquer the position, ready to just, make my mark. And again, another thing that I will definitely speak on in my future, I'm trying to be selective with what I share. The deal that I made with myself was to stop making excuses, to get on the mic, get in front of the camera, figure out the tech stuff, and just tell your story to whatever extent you want to. And so let's say I learned a lot of lessons about what's important to me, my health, my stress, what I am excited to handle, what I feel doesn't deserve. I don't know, let's maybe reword this. I learned a lot about what I'm looking for in a career, in a job, in a team, in a structure that I decided wasn't a fit for me in this specific location. I still don't know how to really talk about this experience. And like I said, one day I will eventually, but for now we can just say it wasn't a fit and there wasn't room to grow, which is very true. I am such a self-starter. I am creative. I am ambitious. I'm driven, and I realize that I need to be in a setting that complements all those beautiful pieces of me. And I also need to learn how to show up in every setting, and I'm learning. I really am. I'm learning that not everyone is going to cheer for you. Not everyone is going to support you. A lot of people won't want to see you win as a woman, especially as a woman, sometimes by other women. But as I mentioned, God only gives us things that we can handle, and He teaches us slowly but surely, and it's up to us to see the positive in experiences, but also take the negative and create a lesson out of it to not be repeated, which has been a theme in my life for so long. So this whole experience, again, I know I'm speaking in code, but I took a lot from it. And that kind of brings me to where I am today. I still work in law, which is very exciting. I have a way more hands-on role at this point, and I love that. I'm still heavily active in politics and my political growth. I'm very active with Global Shapers. I'm working on something new that I can't talk too much about either. It's cooking, and I am, working as hard as I possibly can to help give back to Lebanon, figuring out what's the best avenue, working closely with ATFL, pivoting my career, and I'm being patient with myself, patient with my health, taking the time to understand what's really important to me. What skills can I continue to learn? I always want to be learning and growing. This is a piece of who I am. I cannot be constrained. I cannot be tied down. And not in the sense that I need to run free, which I do, but in the sense that I want to keep challenging myself constantly. I want to keep growing, and I need to turn off that voice in my head that tells me you're not good enough, or you're not going to make it, or slow down. Because in reality, anything you can picture or you can dream or you can manifest is yours. It's effectively yours. If you can think something or dream of it or plan it in your mind or feel something deep in you that you are deserving, or that it's your future and it's yours, you already have it. It's all within you. God is within you, and He would not give you that clarity and those visions if it wasn't meant to be that way. My faith has grown a lot stronger, a lot, and it's needed to, because it has been the most challenging winter. I hate the winter. The winter, obviously there's seasonal depression for everybody here in New England, but the winter also adds because I'm drained, my physical health, my mental health, leaving a situation that was not serving me. Again, really difficult. I feel like I'm always trying to protect myself. It was really hard navigating these challenges and learning about myself and how I can grow and develop and what I can take away, but also assessing the way that I show up in the world. Now, this is the deeper work, right? This is why I've been hesitant to get in front of the microphone and to share, because I'm still figuring it all out, right? And I feel like when I turn this on, I need to be sure about what I'm speaking about. But in reality, that's the beauty of life. That's the beauty of humanity, of this experience. It's that we grow and we change, and it's not always perfect, and it's messy, but it's beautiful. That's how we are who we are. We're just a quilt and a fabric of all these experiences, all this love, all these people, these stories. I got to go to Miami at the end of last year, and that was a lot of fun. I had met some people. I had gone out and had a lot of fun, but also there was like a deep yearning inside of me for stability, for love, for answers, and I didn't have any of that, and I wasn't in the place to give that or to have that. And so it was a little messy the way that 2025 ended, but 2026 started, and it was also a lot of loss, like a lot. There's something else that I want to share. One of my best friends, and we've been friends since I was like 11 or 12, since I was in middle school. We met playing basketball against each other. And she always tells this story as though she knew we were going to be friends because she could see my unibrow from across the court. I was like, and that we would be soul sisters because we're both Lebanese, and she could spot that from a distance. Martina has been a soul sister to me since I was very young, and we've grown and we've loved each other as women in so many different forms and versions of ourselves throughout the years. Martina, you will get to know her, God willing, on the next episode, surprise, surprise, if all goes to plan. I'm gonna keep the details for that episode, but this girl, I love her deeply. It was the beginning of Lent, ironically. It was Ash Monday for us Maronites. I got a text from her phone, and I hadn't heard from her in a little while. She loves to travel and disappear off the face of the earth, which we will definitely talk about. I got a text from her phone, but it was from her brother, and it said, "Hey, Addie, Martina wanted me to text you to let you know that she's in the hospital right now. And she would really love your prayers, you and your family's prayers." And so, of course, immediately my heart just like stops, and I call Eli, and he tells me Martina's paralyzed from the neck down. And I had this, like, again, this delayed grief, just like with Lebanon, just like with, like, it was just like I couldn't process what that meant. And I was like, okay, is she all right? I got all the details. What happened? What does this mean? It doesn't really like click when you hear like someone's paralyzed. You just think, okay, like there's something going on. Something needs to be resolved. But I was like, we're going to get ashes and we're going to come to the hospital. So we went to the hospital to give her ashes. And it's weird because it's like you just see a person laying down, moving, you know, she could turn her neck. It just looks like she's resting. And it didn't sit until I went back a few days later, and I was breaking down on the way to visit her, just like thinking about the reality of what's going on, what it means, what my friend is going through, how I can help her. And I didn't want to tell her story in a sad way because she hates that. She does. And then you'll get to know her really well. But Martina, again, is like a soul sister. She's like my best friend, the person in the world that gets me the most in the weirdest way, right? Like, of course, we have my family and my other friends and experience so many different things with different people. But Martina understands the depth of my heart and my soul, like very, very few people have the capacity to do. And so, like helping her eat, turning her chair to see the sunset. Like there were just things that I was like internally mourning and like so fearful and losing control and feeling anxiety and like wondering if our bodies are really that fragile, doubting in the Lord, asking myself like this couldn't be an act of God. This had to be an evil force, and God saved her. And it turned into this whole internal conflict, and it was just one thing after the other. And the war in Lebanon started, and figuring out how I talk to my family about it and make sure everyone's okay, and how to support my friends that have been either displaced or sleep to the sounds of bombs, how to check on them. Like how do you ask someone, hey, how'd you sleep last night? You're gonna ask them every day, is your family alive? Are you okay? How's your mental health? They laugh. No one is understanding what is going on there right now. And this is part of the reason I was scared or nervous to drop the ATFL episode. Just so you guys know, I recorded that episode that I dropped like last month. I recorded that in like October, November. And then obviously the whirlwind of life started, right? Like between my job at the law firm, and then needing that break from life, stepping away from the legal world for a little bit, and then the start of the war, and then me, of course, like applying and thinking about my political future, like what things are okay to talk about, what things are not, what kind of backlash I would get about this. And I wanted it to be out there. I don't want to make these episodes so I can keep them close to me. I want to make these episodes and this content so I can get it out to you, so I can share the conversations I have with these amazing people, and hopefully more to come. Hopefully so many more to come. I have big plans. But with that comes the risk of that return, of that feedback or the outlash that could come. And so I was very nervous. I just found myself going back into this cocoon because, like I said, it was just one thing after another, one thing after another. And I just turned to God. I've been talking a lot more with Jesus, and I've been thinking of more intentional ways to grow in my faith during this Lenten season. I gave up sweets for basically the whole 40 days. I was fasting every day until 12. I've been very consistent with my health journey, trying to make sure I don't lose myself in this transitional phase that I'm going through, and that I keep just showing up for Adeline as hard as it can be and pushing myself. Started boxing. I've hit new PRs. I've been really paying attention to my diet and like building muscle and strength. I've been resting when I need to. That's big. And I've been trying my best to read the Bible and to watch shows that bring me closer to God, because I have nothing if I don't have trust in Him. I have nothing, no answers, no clarity, no truth if I don't have faith in His plan and what it is that He has in store for me and for this world, for my family, for Lebanon. And I'm grateful. Like if anything good has come out of this crazy season of my life, it's my relationship with God and the depth of that faith. I'm exploring what a relationship with Him would look like, even though it's imperfect. And I urge everyone that's listening to do so as well. We're all changing people, and sometimes we push and we pull from those around us, from the versions of us that we think we know. We grow, there's growing pains, there's aches, there's confusion. And I know I keep trying to focus on the fact that future Adeline, I know she's going to look back and she's going to tell me, I wish I could tell you it was all going to work out. Just don't give up. Just don't lose sight of who you are. Don't lose sight of what you want to do. And where you want to be seated, where you want to grow, what that seat at the table will look like. What does it matter if you make a seat at the table if the table is poisonous, if the food that's being served is poison? Great, you have a seat. Get up and leave. Find a table filled with people and food and love that serve you. That's where you make a seat. That's where your voice is heard. And so every day, that's my mantra. That's what I'm focusing on, is who is the Adeline that you want to be? And how do you get closest to that version of her every day? And there's hiccups along the way, of course. So that is the most bird's eye view update I think I can give you guys. You know, obviously there's more that I'm leaving out, and I'm being purposefully a little bit ambiguous about exactly the work I've been doing and am doing and am planning to do, as well as the projects and initiatives I'm involved with. But it will all come to fruition. I want to be protective of that piece, which I mentioned with Sinetti on my recent podcast collab, which I was so happy to do, by the way. Protecting my peace is so important, and I'm noticing that. A lot of people don't want good for you. A lot of people want to see you fall. A lot of people don't want to see you at your happiest or won't root for you there. It's really important to guard those beautiful plans, those beautiful missions, but to also celebrate where the support does come from and to still be authentic and to still be genuine. We're growing. we're learning. I feel like this is a good time to talk about, listen, Habibi, I have big dreams, big hopes for this platform. As I'm trying to figure out where I fit in the world, which is really essentially the crisis I'm in. Who am I minus all of my accolades? What do I want to do with my time here? As I notice around me, life is not guaranteed. Nothing is guaranteed, which is my biggest weak point, by the way. Maybe that's what God is testing me about. Maybe he's trying to show me that he's left at all of my plans that I thought I had panned out. That in reality, he has something. And it's not always exactly what I want, but in the end, it will all make sense. And it will be beautiful because he knows my faith and he knows my heart and he knows my love. And I guess ultimately, I just want to share my voice more. And instead of figuring out where I fit, I can make things fit around me. I can express myself. I can, give back the ways that I want to. And I love my voice. I love the connections I make with people. I love learning from those around me. I love seeing the Lebanese in the world and the Arab and the Middle Eastern in the world kill it and tell their stories. And ultimately, I love storytelling, creation, connection, impact, powerful. And I think it's the work of God deep down. In an age where everyone is so scared to just talk to each other, to connect, to be vulnerable, to just show up authentically, naked in front of one another, it is courageous to be you. It is courageous to open your heart and to show up 100%. And this is my platform to do that. So it's not just a podcast. It's a deep emotional connection to my mission and to who I am deep down as a woman inside. So yeah, I think this is a good place to wrap up today's episode. I know it was just to catch up, but I'm really excited to roll out my goals for Listen Habibi, as well as some amazing, amazing guests that I plan on having. I also can't wait to share hopefully updates about my new initiative that I'll be working on as things kind of come together. But most importantly, I'm really happy to still have a place to talk about all this stuff and to reach out and connect with, even if it's one listener. I love you guys. Thank you so much for listening, and see you in the next one. Bye, Habibis.